Okay, welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. First in-person episode. It's very fun, it's very exciting, and I'm here with my wonderful guest, comedian, he headlines all over the country, Eric Neumann.
Hi everybody, I just want to point out that I asked Natalie, I'm like, do I have to shower for this? Like, is it audio or is it film? And she's like, oh, it's film, but you still don't have to shower. And then when I got here, she told me that this is the first filmed episode, so that's no pressure. So yeah, I'm glad. I even put on deodorant. So
I put on deodorant, but I don't feel like I put on deodorant. So
you think it's gone? It's already evaporated?
I think it might have evaporated. I think it's terrible. Someone told me I smelled this morning on the phone. On the phone, they told me I smell.
Well, that's
So
that's a big problem. Then.
Great start. I see. This is why I have the podcast asking for advice. I've got a lot of problems. So how has your year been? How is everything?
How's my year been? It's actually been pretty good. I felt like the pandemic helped me a lot.
Yeah?
Comedy-wise. Yeah, it did.
In what way?
I just felt like I needed, I'm a very old school mentality comic in the sense that I'm just you write jokes and you get on stage and then that's going to lead to automatic success if you're good enough at doing that. And that's just not the case anymore. It is not the world we live in. People have to get over that and past it. I was one of the last ones to sort of hang on to that idea, I think. But so when that was taken away from me, I was like, okay, well, I need to find a way to, and I'd already been feeling it for a while. I'd been feeling all right, I need to make some more movement in other areas because clearly getting on stage and doing well every night doesn't really get you much. You'll get past at clubs and whatever, and I'm not saying that's not valuable. It is. Everybody wants to get past at the best clubs and whatever, but I was okay, I know I'm not gonna perform physically for an indefinite period of time, so let me figure out what else I can do. And that's when I very reluctantly joined TikTok and posted more on Instagram and whatever. And as much as I fought against it, it's been the best thing that I've ever done. So it's been good for me in that sense. I mean, obviously it sucks. Mentally it's hard, right? Emotionally it's hard.
Yeah.
But I also feel it kind of, I was talking to a friend about this the other day. It kind of weeded out, you have to want this so badly, right? You just have to at all costs, go for it no matter what. Oftentimes it'll affect you'll lose all your friends probably if you're doing it correctly. If you're doing it correctly, everybody in your life who you ever cared about should hate you. That's the correct way to pursue this dream.
That's so validating because everyone does hate me.
Yeah, there you go. Well, then there you go. Congratulations, you're off to a hot start. But yeah, so I feel like because of that, friends don't even invite me places anymore.
Right.
It's amazing because they know I'm just going to say no, or I'm going to say I'll see and then never get back to them or whatever. So I think because of that, so a lot of people, so pandemic starts, right? March 2020, pandemic starts, everything shuts down. We don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks or a year, right? We have no idea.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were you know what? This gives me the perfect excuse to go hibernate somewhere. Cause it's not people can accuse you of being unmotivated. The world shut down. So perfect excuse for anybody who's not fully in to just be okay, I guess I'm out. Nobody's gonna say anything about it. Whatever, I could quietly go away. And the people who said no and resisted that and pushed back and were okay, this is gonna be the most productive time that I've ever had in my career. I'm gonna make a way to I think Schultz put out a great video about it at first where he was just we're trapped, but we're trapped with technology. So we're fine. So it's I think the people who push back against that and were I'm gonna make this really productive, I think those are the people, and I think it weeded out a lot of the kind of the weak, right? I mean, this is the way evolution has been throughout time, right?
Very Machiavellian.
Very Machiavellian, exactly.
Yeah.
Weed out the weak, the strong prevail, whatever. And this was sort of, I think, a real you got a real sense of who really wanted it, I think. Yeah.
So what did you start doing on TikTok and Instagram? Did you post old stand-up clips? Did you make new content? What was it that you were doing?
So I'll tell you real quick, just a quick backstory. So a buddy of mine, Dan Altano, a very funny comic, he's been doing it 6 years now. He's starting to get his footing, and I'm so happy for him because he's just so funny, so hardworking. He told me, he was dude, you put out a full album. I put out my first album, Nervous Lover. I put it out in 2018.
Right.
And so it was an hour of basically a 10 years of stand-up, my best 10 years, right? And he's you have this hour. And I am so sensitive. I'm a naturally sensitive person. So it was very hard for me to come to to come to terms with the fact that like my stuff would be out there and people could look at it like on their couches and be like, ugh, not funny or something like that.
Yeah.
And like that kills me, or it killed me for a long period of time. And finally I'm like, you know what, man, like I started to sort of just feel more confident about where I was comedically and whatever. And I was like, you know what, let me just go for it. And at first I was just like putting up, like I would put up one clip every 2 weeks or something. And I would make sure it was like the best 10 minutes I had. Like I wouldn't even go into the B. I would just like the best 10 minutes. Like what am I most proud of? As if I was like doing like a late night set or whatever. Let me put out and then as I kept doing it and I was getting like good feedback, I was like, you know what, like, let me try some of this other stuff that's maybe not quite as strong, but like I like it or whatever for one reason or another. And I put that up, and then I just went, you know what? And then you get like a lot of positive comments, but you get negative comments, not funny, just like losers, right? Just like nothing going on in their lives. Like, the thing is with me is like if I see something I don't like, I don't stop and say something. I'm just like, I'm out, like I just won't, that's it. Like you don't, like why do you have to make a point to stop and be negative? Like it's the stupidest thing in the world. Like it's just energy that doesn't need to be taken up with that, right?
It's really interesting because the first 2 out of the 3 of the first episodes of my podcast are basically about like negative people on the internet.
Yeah.
Because it does truly affect you as a comedian and as an entertainer.
It does. And it's also like we're putting stock and what's stupid on our end, because you got to take responsibility.
Right.
Because what's dumb on our end is we're putting like value into someone who just like has an account. All we know about them is that they were smart enough to like sign up for TikTok. That's all. That's literally, they could literally have no other, like they could be like actually like retarded.
They could be 9 years old.
They could be 9 years old, like, and it's like, am I allowed to say retarded on this podcast? I think.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. So like we don't, and we trust their view. Like we have put any. It's crazy how sensitive we are as performers, and like. I realized that I needed to do, I was talking to somebody last night about, I go off on a million tangents, so I apologize for this, but like, I was on a date last night, and I was talking to her about like how like, what I love so much about Kobe, and by the way, she said, Kobe who? And I was like, there's one Kobe, there's no Kobe
You're like,
who.
Kobe beef?
Yeah, exactly. There's the food and the person, and I'm not saying that the food is very motivated and driven. So I was like, clearly the basketball, Kobe Bryant, the only Kobe, I was like, what I loved about him was like, and that still kills me, but like, what I loved about him is that he wanted to know what his flaws were. Like he was like, okay, I clearly have to work on my post-up game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to like contact like one of the legendary big men in the NBA who are retired, and I'm going to ask them if they'll like just spend a week with me, like going through my post-up game, teaching me what I'm doing wrong, whatever. Knowing what trying to find out what your flaws are and fixing them as quickly as possible is what makes you stronger. Right. And I knew one of my flaws was that I was just too sensitive. I was like sensitive when certain comics walked into the room to watch me. I was like sensitive to, it bothered me, and it bothered me that it bothered me. So I was like, instead of shy away from it, which I probably did for a long period of time, I was like, let me get so numb to it that like it doesn't matter. That like somebody writing, this is amazing, hilarious, or somebody writing like not funny, this sucks, feels similar. Like it's not gonna be like a different, like a different feeling much. Obviously like positive validation feels better than negativity, but I didn't want the disparity to be that big. So I go like, let me put everything out there. Eventually I'm gonna get so many negative comments that they're just gonna feel like nothing. I'm just gonna be like, okay.
Did that work for you?
Yeah. Like if somebody truly goes not funny, I got in trouble on TikTok. I got banned from TikTok for a week. And I don't know if it's because I respond to every comment, because I like negativity as far as it gets me hyped. Like I like confrontation. Right. Like I totally love confrontation. Some people shy away from it. Like I really enjoy it. So like it just gets me hyped up. Like if somebody says like you suck, I'm like okay, I'm feeling like hyped now. Like I want like
you're challenged.
Exactly. Like I have that thing about me or whatever. Not always a good thing. But I decided, I was like, okay, like I'm like, I'm gonna respond to every comment or whatever. So I would just respond like back, calling them a loser, telling them a loser, virgin, whatever, all that stuff. And because most of them are, right? And I got in trouble on TikTok, like whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna comment anymore. But now I think I'm even in a mature place or a more healthy place, because now I see them and I just go like, I'm just gonna ignore it.
Right.
Like, it's cool. But I truly don't care. Like I think I've gotten to a place where I'm confident enough in what I do that like it doesn't really bother me. Like I really go, okay, this is about their insecurities. It's not about like me or the fact that I'm not doing a good enough job for them. It's about where they are. And I think that's helped me.
100%. I do feel like it's interesting because I never really drew the parallel between like, online trolls and developing thick skin around that and like feeling anxious when a certain comic walks in the room, or like a friend whose opinion you care about is there to watch your set, or like you're trying to get a tape and that's there, so that's altering your set. And I think that's also something that I'm interested in, like trying to not let these external things influence the way I'm performing in the exact moment also.
Well, how long have you been performing?
3.5 years.
Okay, and do you get up pretty much every night?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that seems very early to make that. Like, and again,
course,
everybody at their own pace. And if you can do it earlier, try to do it earlier. But I think the important, no, for real, but I think the important thing, and Saifa says really nice things about you. I actually haven't seen you perform, but Saifa, who's a buddy of mine now, I know he tours with you and stuff, and he says really nice things about you. But like, I think it's just important to understand how you're feeling. Like there are certain comics, I'm never going to name their names because I never want them to have the satisfaction of knowing who they are. But like, there were certain comics where every time they walked into the room, I was just slightly off my game. Like I could be killing the entire set. They walk in, I'm aware. I'm like just a little bit nervous. It's kind of like the difference between being on a date with someone you don't like versus being on a date with someone you do like. You're just slightly. I know it's terrible to find somebody you're into. It's horrendous.
I hate it. I hate it.
No, because you're off your game. There's no way. Like I've been trying to, and I've been like, now I've been single for the last year, so I've just sort of been just like enjoying myself, and like there is no way to act the exact same way with someone you don't like. So, at least where I am right now. But I know that I make an effort to get as close as possible. And I think that's the same thing. I think it's the same. I don't think it matters exactly what the example is. I think it's the feeling behind it. So I think it's like, try to perform the exact same way when there's like, just like people whose comedy you don't respect versus if like Colin Quinn and Attell and like all these guys walk into the room. I think it's like, try to be as close as you can. It's never going to be exactly the same.
Right.
But I think just sort of try to thread the needle a little bit, kind of, right?
Yeah. The only thing that I've ever been able to do is convince myself that it doesn't matter, which is, I feel like, not healthy because I don't want to have that perspective. And it's the same thing with dating. Like, I get very fucking nervous if I like someone.
Yeah.
It sucks that like when things matter to you, you fuck up. So I'm like, do I have to just make everything not matter to me?
Yeah. So that's the line. It's like, and I don't think that's a bad approach maybe at first, but I think it'll slowly transform into more like, this does matter, but not as much as I think. Like,
right.
Because I think saying I don't care, and I went through the whole period, I went through the whole gamut. I went through like, I care so much, it's so obvious. Then I went into like, well, I don't care at all. Fuck this. And now I've just settled in more of a space where it's like, yeah, like I care, but like, it's not gonna like define my career. Like one set, no matter what it is, it's all about this, we're just running, it's a marathoner's pace, right? So it's like, it's every jog, it's every mile, it's every block. It's not, defined as like, I don't know. It's just, there's so many sets, right? You're doing sets every night.
Right.
And everything's different. And like, I think it's consistency over time. And I think it's like, I just think you have to go through all of it. I think you just have to go through the like feeling nervous. And I mean, I felt bad. Like, it wasn't about that's what I realized about myself. Like, it wasn't about like the crowd necessarily, like how the crowd reacted. It was how I reacted to how the crowd reacted. Right? So it's kind of a different thing where it's like, you can't control who these fucking people are who like come to your show. Like, you don't know what they were doing before, after, you don't know what they're going through. Like, who knows? It's just a collective group of people that we have no prior knowledge on whatsoever. We don't know if they're awesome. We don't know if they're fucking assholes. Like, we have no idea who these people are.
Right.
So I think it's important to realize that like, you're one entity and the audience is a separate entity. And then when it comes together and works amazing, it's amazing. But like, I think it's like how you stay calm or how you react to the audience reacting to you. So if you're bombing, like, how are you gonna react to that, right? It's like we all bomb, everybody's bombed. Nobody's getting funny enough. I've tried to do research on this. Nobody is getting funny enough.
What does research on this look like?
I don't know. I've just
field work.
Exactly. Field work is a better way to put it. I would say field work. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, I've killed in every scenario, and I've bombed in pretty much every scenario at this point.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is there's no way to ensure, while developing and trying to get new material and be better, there's no way to ensure that you're gonna kill. Like, you can't. But you can stay loose. You can stay calm. You cannot get, like, I used to remember when I bombed, this is one of the biggest differences I have now is like a 12-year comic and like a 5-year comic, like, or 3-year comic, whatever. Like, I would get very, very tense when jokes weren't hitting. Like, really, and some people don't have this, like black comics. Somehow, like, every black comic I watch, like, I never see them getting nervous. Like, it's fucking insane. Like, just have this like quality. And anyway. So, but like, I'll get tense. I feel my shoulders kind of coming up. I feel myself, like, maybe my back, like, sweating on my back, whatever. Like, and like, it would bother me, but it wouldn't bother me as much. I realized, and I did a lot of, like, I tried to figure this out. It wouldn't bother me as much that the audience wasn't cracking up. It would bother me that I would be so affected by it, that I was like being a pussy kind of. Like, dude, grow up. Like, okay, the crowd didn't laugh at your jokes. Like, whatever. Like, it's one crowd. So I think once I realized that and saw, like, big picture, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna, like, handle this. And I'm not saying it still doesn't feel good.
Right.
I mean, it still doesn't feel bad. It does still feel bad, but I'm able to really overcome it now the way I wasn't back in the day.
Right. I think someone said something once that was like, you're thinking, oh my God, they just noticed that this joke didn't land and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, the audience doesn't know that what you're expecting. Like, yeah, they can feel that it didn't land, but most of the time they're not thinking, they don't have the self-critical voice that you have in your head.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I brought like a group of girls to one of my shows at the VU recently, and like, it was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago when we were still doing it like with the partitions and stuff and it was socially distanced. And it just like wasn't, and some of those were good, but they weren't the same feel or whatever. But this crowd just like wasn't good. They just weren't good. And I remember the group of girls being like, oh my God, that show was amazing. It was so fun. And I was like, every comedian said that the crowd sucked. And they're like, really? We thought everybody was laughing. They don't listen to it the way we listen to it.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, and it took me a long time to realize that, is like, you'll go off on a crowd, you'll be like, you guys fucking suck, or whatever. And they're like, they didn't know they sucked until you just told them they sucked.
Yeah, I don't know why people do that sometimes.
Yeah. It's like they're, just because they're smart, and some people just laugh loudly, and some, like, the perfect kill is just a combination of every great laugher in a room together. And they just happen to be, it just works. Like, somehow, like, you got the 100 people who have great laughs to come together and make a lot of noise in one area. And like, most of the time that's not the case. Most of the time it's like I'm a bad audience member. Like, I'll enjoy a lot, but I don't make like that much noise. In fact, people make fun of me for, I'll be like, and we're comics, right? But I hear something I like, I'll be like, ha. Like, it's
do you do that?
Yeah, it's like a terrible habit. And people are like, Eric, you gotta like change.
It sounds like sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not, the thing is like, I'm acknowledging in my brain that it's funny.
Right.
Like, that's like, oh, you got me on that. But like, I'm not gonna like really crack up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then you got like Greer Barnes, who's like literally the best audience member ever. Like, it's crazy. Like, it looks like the guy's never seen comedy before. Like, he's going to like an open mic and he's like, oh my God, these comedians are so talented. Like, that's what it seems like. You're like one of the biggest killers in the game, and like, you've been doing this for 35 years.
Right.
It's weird.
Do you feel like in relationships it's been difficult since you're a comic? Like, do you feel like you need to be with someone that's also a comic and has the same schedule? Or like, how does that work?
Okay, so I've never dated a comic.
Okay.
I've never hooked up with a comic.
Is it a rule?
It's not a hard rule. I've gotten close with like 2 people. It just like didn't go there. And like, I really feel like, as maybe irresponsible as I am in the dating world regularly, I'm that responsible in the comedy world. Like, I'm like, let me see, because these are like people I'm gonna be around all the time. And once you go down that road, like, I talked to like a buddy of mine who's a comic, and he's just dated so many comics, like 15, 20 comics. I'm like, dude, can you fucking stop dating comics, please? And there's nothing wrong with that. And look, honestly, like, when it works, it's beautiful. Like List and Sarah, like Joe and Sarah, like, they're awesome. Like, I love them together, you know? And like, there's other examples of that also, but like, a lot of the times it goes bad, right? So like, I don't know. So it's not a hard rule. Like I'm open to it. I just like, I would have to be, like I would really examine it and see like if it's something like before I like dove in, I guess.
So how did you handle in relationships, like being, you know, having a different schedule? Like you talk about like, all right, if you're doing comedy right, then everyone hates you. So how do you handle in relationships, like putting yourself first when relationships are about putting the other person first?
I was a bad boyfriend. I didn't put, you know, I think I'm at the place in my life, it's weird. Like, so I'm 34. I don't know, how old are you?
I'm 26.
20s? Okay. So, that sounds, 26 sounds better. 26 sounds a lot better. I'm in a place in my life where like, it's weird. Like I'm 100% like committed to comedy. That is my first priority, everything. But I'm realizing slowly that like I have to balance it a little bit better. Like I can't just do comedy all the time. And to be honest, like I don't want to. I don't want to only be on stage every single night. Like, for example, I went to LA to do shows 2 weeks ago and I purposely tacked on, I haven't taken a vacation. I didn't take a vacation the whole pandemic. But I purposely like put 3 days aside after my LA trip to like go to Santa Barbara and just be on edibles for like with my buddy for like, you know, from like 8 a.m. to like midnight, just walking around the beach slowly with nowhere to go. Like I wanted that. I want to experience like beautiful things and like do stuff with people I love and whatever. Like I don't only want to do stand-up. And so like I'm trying to sort of incorporate that more. And the thing with my ex that was a big issue was like, she was so supportive. Like, you know, some people date, like some people, like friends of mine who are comics, they'll date girls or whatever who like aren't like supportive. And it's crazy how they could compromise that. To me, like that's like the only thing I want. Like I'll compromise, like if you like want to like, I don't know, like actually I won't compromise much, but God, I just realized I couldn't even come up with an example.
You're like, she needs to be the perfect girl and matches my list.
No, I'm just, that's just such a high priority in my life, the priority that like the conversation's over. Like, you tell me that you're not, like we could have an amazing first couple dates or whatever, and then you drop the ball on me that it's like, oh, I'm not really okay with like you doing stand-up. I was like, that's it. You know? Like it was
a
nice
deal breaker.
to meet you. Yeah, that's it. So I don't really get that. So anybody that I'm gonna date is gonna have to understand. Like my ex was extremely, and like we like I love her. Like she, you know, I always will. Like she was always supportive, so supportive. Really let me prioritize. Like I left her going. Like she went to so many weddings alone to the point that like I felt so bad about it. You know, it's like it would always be like, "Where's Eric? Where's Eric? Always doing a show." You know, like they almost expected me not to come, which is fine as like a friend. But when you're like, you do have to really prioritize the person you're with. So like, it got to me. Like I couldn't pretend like it didn't get to me. Like I felt like I wasn't doing a great job being a boyfriend. You have to, and so like I'm not gonna get into a relationship again unless I. And of course I will again, but like until I'm ready to really make you, if not the priority, like the same as stand-up, you know?
Right.
Like
interesting. Like that's a mature way to be like, you're not gonna agree to something that you can't give.
Exactly. I'm not playing that game anymore. That's like a young man's game, you know? I'm not.
Interesting.
There's a few things that I've definitely learned about like men versus women.
Okay.
That are pretty biologically proven. Like, first of all, the most important thing from a man's perspective, a woman wants to see that you are ambitious and driven.
That's valid.
There's no way around it. Sure, like women date losers sometimes or whatever, and that's a little more complicated. But I think from a general standpoint, women want to date a winner. Like they want to date somebody who's like works hard, who's smart, who's like gonna put like, you know, who prioritizes their career and whatever. That's pretty much logic to a fault, I would say. The other thing is like, and I've learned this more recently, is you don't have to work so hard as a guy.
As a guy?
Yeah.
You have to do jack shit.
You don't. And what I always fucked up, so I was losing battles. Like the problem, this is what I was told my whole life with women. Okay? Like junior high school. So the one thing I'll say about myself is I've always had balls. I've always asked girls out. Always.
Okay.
I never was shy about that. I went for it. And I always got tons and tons of numbers and like, whatever. And the issue that I was always having, and this is time after time after time, was that they would always tell me that when I met you, I thought you were like good looking and like funny and whatever, but you were too much.
Oh, I get told I'm too much a lot.
Okay, but you can get away with it more because you're a hot girl. You can get away with it more because you're an attractive woman. So it's a little different.
Okay.
I would like write poems to girls and this and that. I was like such a hopeless romantic when I was like younger. And it was always, and I would lose battles. Like this girl would talk to me for like 4 months and I was like, we'd stay on the phone together for like 5 hours.
Right.
Another terrible thing. I thought the longer I spent on the phone with her, charming her, the more I was in. And it turned out to be the reverse. Like it was just like.
Really?
Yeah, because it was like, why is he available every night for me on the phone for 5 hours?
Okay,
right?
yeah. So you don't want to be available every second.
Of course. And I was like, and everything I said was charming and everything I said was cute and whatever. And like, but it just was too much. Like I was trying to oversell myself.
Right.
When all I realized is I had to be was just like be me and like a cool version of me, right?
Like trust yourself.
Trust myself, which I didn't. I was anyway. So this happened more. So I would lose battles. Like I'd talk to a girl for like 4 months, and then I'd find out she's just like dating some guy who I knew, and I was like, this guy like is a loser. Like he's like just like does nothing but like plays video games, and like he's getting this girl when I'm like ambitious and have these talents and whatever, and it would drive me crazy, and I wouldn't understand it. It was like, you know that scene in Forgetting Sarah Marshall where he's like, do less, do more. All right, now you're doing nothing. That's almost like what it is in dating. It's like, just do less. Like you don't have to. And what's happened to me in my life, I've learned this, and simultaneously my schedule has been so busy that I just don't have the same time for girls.
Right.
I'm not trying to play games. I just like have gigs and I have things I have to do. I have podcasts and whatever, and like. I just don't have the time. So I'm going to be much more selective about who I spend time with.
Right.
So it's flipped a lot. It's flipped from like me trying to now I have like, I mean, there are like girls like chasing me. And like, it's never happened before like this.
Because you're unavailable.
I'm naturally unavailable. I'm not like trying to pretend to be unavailable. I just don't have days to hang out. And so it drives them crazy. They're like, how come this guy, I'm an attractive woman, guys are running after me. And I would have been one of those guys back in the day. Like, why can't I get this guy locked down?
Okay, so then once you're in a relationship and you're like, okay, you're locked down, then how do you balance that? Because I feel like that's like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think I think that's when it just becomes like more of a natural thing. Like the days that I would make myself available to a girl I liked, those days now go to my girlfriend. Right? So it's like, it's just, again, a natural thing where it's like now your girlfriend, you have one girl who's a serious priority in your life.
Right. And
you got to make time for her and you got to spend and do whatever. And like, and everybody's different. Everybody compromises differently. And some people want to spend 3 nights a week together and some people want to see each other once every 2 weeks and some people want to spend, like, it just depends on what you guys want to do. So, but like for me, yeah, I had a hard time seeing my girlfriend for years. Then we moved in together and we saw each other a lot, and didn't work out. But I think I think you just have to like make your priorities pretty clear, and it's not about game playing. Like I don't think like playing games is like, it's stupid. Like it's stupid. So
you have to be like, you're not my priority.
No, not you're not my priority. It's just don't. The thing I do with this is like I'll ask a girl out. I'm upfront about this. Like whatever. Like if I see a girl that I've never been on dating apps.
Really?
Never.
Well, I guess if you're fucking doing comp. See, I feel like women ask out guys. It's so easy for them to get a girl after a show. It's very rare that a guy will ask me out after a show.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, my set is like, okay, I'm not gonna ask her out. But also, yeah, very rare.
But the thing is like, it's also hard for guys to do that.
Why?
Well, guys don't approach, like the average guy, unless they're wasted at a bar,
right,
doesn't really have the balls to approach a girl. I mean, whenever I go on a date with a girl, she tells me, she'll be like, I don't get approached like that much like that. Like she's like if I'm with friends, a group of friends, and we're hanging out all afternoon or at the beach or whatever, yeah, a guy will ask me out. but like not like cold like that.
I feel like guys, like stand-up comedians that are men, fucking they can do a show and it's fucking easy for them to get laid. Yeah. It's not the same. Like as a woman, like sure, it's just I don't get approached the same way after shows that guys do. It's like a lot of my comic friends, they're like, "How'd you meet your girlfriend?" "Oh, she came to a show." I've never hooked up with an audience member.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, okay. And I've never hooked up with a comic, so.
Oh, there you go.
Polar opposite. I don't know. I mean, like, if I think somebody's really pretty or whatever, like, I'll go up to them,
And they're like, "Oh my God, the comedian's going up to me."
That's exactly what they do. That exact.
That's it.
So yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, and then, I don't know, where were we before this?
Oh yes. See, I feel like, so dating Lewis, right? He's a comedian. I feel like for me, it's like, I'm finding the balance between like, okay, I'm prioritizing my career and I'm also prioritizing like being a girlfriend.
Sure.
Right. And so that's an interesting dynamic in myself, because in past relationships, it's either been like the Natalie show or like the guy show, right? And it's never been like, it's both of us. So I think that's like an interesting dynamic that like, I feel like I'm finally like in an emotional space where like I can be in a relationship where it's not just about one person, it's about both people, but it's like an interesting thing that I've been thinking about lately.
Well, that's very healthy. I mean, I think that's the approach. And I said to myself, I'm like, I'd rather be single than not be in the relationship the right way.
Right.
Like there's no, like, it just ends up weighing you down so heavily, like just like with negative shit. Just like,
right.
Because you feel responsible for the other person's feelings. And like, that's just a fact of a relationship.
Yeah.
And so if they're not happy, you're not happy, then you're frustrated yourself for not making them happy. And there's just all these, it just keeps going, So I think that's a healthy place to be. I think like you being in a relationship where it's like, I have my own thing, he has his own thing, but together we have this thing. I think that's the winning recipe, I think.
Wow. I solved all my problems.
See, that's it. You're good.
That's fair. I feel like I like your male insight. Do you have any more for me?
Male insight? I have tons of male insight.
Please.
It's the only insight I have.
Like, what makes a woman attractive?
What makes a woman attractive? That's the thing. Everybody has different, like, I could only answer for me. Like, my buddy Eagle, who I just got off the phone like an hour ago, him and I are just equally kind of obsessed with women. And
you are the same level as Eagle? You must hide it better.
No. I'm not the same level as far as like, I know how to control myself.
Okay.
I mean, he's getting better, but we're also in different places. So I'm 34 and he's 27.
Okay.
So like, I'm like now a little bit like, sometimes I go, Eagle, that's a bad decision. Eagle, look at me. Look at me, Eagle. Bad decision. Stupid. Don't do that. Like I said, I like that because I just have more like, I'm just like a little older, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm just way more selective about who I spend time with. But I was talking to him on the phone the other day about how like if we're not like really, like I'd rather go home alone, way rather go home by myself, spend time, write some jokes, chill on the couch, whatever, than be with or edit some videos and, than hang out with a person I don't want to hang out with.
Of course.
And I get a sense very, very quickly, pretty much. Like, I'm like, okay, like this person, I want to see what happens. I want to ask her out. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
And then, I make the call pretty soon.
So what influences the call?
I have to be like very attracted to the person.
Okay.
Like I think women want to pretend like this doesn't exist, or maybe they don't 100% all know or whatever, but like the first thing is a man has to say is, I want to fuck her. Like,
I agree with
when
that.
a man sees a girl, he either says, I want to fuck her or I don't want to fuck her. And in 99.9% of cases, and then women are like, well, that's really romantic. I'm like, yeah, but there's no romance.
There has to be an
after
attraction.
that if there's not that. So like, you can, then after that, it's like, okay, like, can we have a really fun conversation? Is this person cool to be around?
Right.
All those factors.
Right.
And then you start developing more of a, like a more of a conclusion as far as like, is this going to be this or is this going to be that? But there's no turning that around. Like, and I've had enough case study now to know that like, if I look at a person and I don't think, I want to fuck them so badly, Like it's not
Field work.
It's not going anywhere. Field work. It's all about the field work in every area. It's just not going anywhere. It's
Right.
not going further than that.
Right.
Like you could be the most charming, amazing woman, like whatever. This is just how I am. It's how I'm built. It's, like there's nothing to do about it. Like I wish I could change it. I can't. I've tried. There was one girl in my past who like I wasn't like wildly that attracted to. I just thought she was like literally like the coolest person I've ever met, and it didn't get me that far. So I just couldn't cross the line. So I've been there. I know it, and that's what it is. So like, and women are different, and women will like see a guy. Maybe he's not really their type. Like they're like, he's not that good looking. Maybe all the friends are like, But then like
they're like going through the Instagram, like, no, not this picture. No, you have to see a better picture.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing. You guys have more. I mean, you're better people. You have more.
There's way more beautiful women than there are attractive guys. It's not even a question. And men have lower standards for what's attractive.
Men have lower.
Or for what they would fuck.
Yeah,
I feel like if a guy would fuck you, that's not a compliment because guys would fuck a hole in the wall.
I was just saying, women. The thing that I had to realize is like, no matter what kind of woman you are, you never want. I mean, you could be blowing dudes every night. You meet a guy you like, you want him to want you as a partner.
Of course.
You don't want him to be like. I mean, even you could literally fuck like 10 dudes in a row.
Okay.
Like, in the course of a week.
Okay.
That you don't like.
Right.
Then you meet a guy that you have a nice conversation with, a pleasant conversation, and you're like, oh, I like this dude. You don't want him to just want to fuck you. You want him to be like, let's go on a date. Like, let's get to know each other.
You're saying this is the difference between men and women?
Yeah.
Because men suck.
Yeah, we're bad.
They're the worst.
And this has happened to me 100 times. I go, why can't you just fuck me like you fucked all these other dudes? And she's like, well, I like you. I'm like, well, come on, that's not fair. Like,
don't like me. I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to shower.
Exactly.
But it goes back to like, it pisses me off because it's like, then why is being too much not attractive? I think being too much should be attractive.
What's too much?
Putting your heart into something. Like, I hate that you have to kind of be like, okay, like I guess it's like healthy to like monitor how much energy you're putting into a relationship or a person. But I don't like that it's like, technically not attractive to like be a romantic.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think everybody has a little bit of the romantic nature at heart, and I think that it comes through with the people that you want to be romantic with. I mean, like, you're like, oh, I love this person. Like, I want them to see this side of me or whatever. The problem is if you do it too early, you scare people off. And I know that because I've scared off everybody. I've scared off endless amounts of women. So, like, because I put it out there because I thought that being the romantic guy would make me different or whatever. And it's like, women want you to only be romantic with them once they've got you locked down. And women want to settle guys often. And that's why women like players. Because like...
They want to feel like they won you over or something?
Women want to know that the guy that they're with, oftentimes, is a guy that a lot of women want.
Confident women want that.
Confident women want. Okay, that's an interesting distinction. Wait, elaborate on that.
Well, I feel like a confident woman is like, yeah, I want a guy that like a lot of girls want to fuck, and I want to be the one that won him and then gets to have him. Okay. And maybe a woman that's not as confident is like, I want a guy that nobody wants, so that like I can just chill. I don't have to feel threatened.
Interesting. That's
not speaking from experience or anything like that.
No, I understand. But don't you think that's also like deep down they probably still want that, but maybe just like put up a facade that they don't because it just like they can't handle it emotionally or whatever.
Sure. Of course, so, you want like you want the best.
You want the catch. Everybody wants a catch. Like nobody. I don't think anybody ideally wants somebody who nobody wants to fuck. I don't think that's like a thing.
I feel like I've never like I feel like there have been times where I would like. I remember like a couple years ago I was looking through photos in my phone and there was like a picture of it like. I should not say this stuff, but there was like a picture of like a classically handsome guy, and I was like, "Who is this?" It's definitely not someone I've hooked up with because I feel like I like wouldn't hook up with attractive guys because I was too insecure. Like it took me feeling confident about myself to go after attractive guys.
That's very interesting.
Because otherwise, like I just didn't. I felt too insecure. Like
right? No. That's totally fair. And you're always like building and working on yourself and changing, and hopefully for the better. But yeah, no, I like, I think I used to have to try to prove that I was a really nice guy, and once I'm not as nice as I thought I would. Like, I'm a nice person, I'm sensitive, I like don't want to ever hurt people's feelings, like I truly am that. But I also like don't really care that much about that many people. So like truthfully. So I like not fully anyway. So like I think that maybe in some weird way like helps me out, because I think like I'd be like talking to a girl or whatever and she could kind of just tell that I'm like
not that interested.
And the truth is I'm really not.
But then at that point, honestly, it's on her to kind of like be aware of that and like have the self-worth. Like I've definitely been with guys that I'm like, okay, I can tell that you're like not really interested in who I am and not interested in hearing me talk. And that's on me to be like, right. Well, do I value myself? Am I going to walk away from this or am I going to settle for this? It's right. Like, it's kind of like, I get what you're saying, but it's like both people are responsible for what you do with that information.
That's what we were saying about negative comments, right? The same right. philosophy where it's like, yeah, you're not responsible for their comments. You're responsible to how you react to those right. comments. And the same thing with a bad crowd, right? I mean, like it's like it's all the same philosophy. It's all just basically like I'm sorry, all good.
It's all the girls flooding your DMs.
No, it's not. This is about a shit. No, it's all basically like I have to be responsible and strong and like whatever it is.
Right.
You know, it's like I don't chase women anymore. Like I'll ask a girl out. If I want to go out with a girl, I approach her, ask her out. If she goes out with me, great. If I get any type of like reluctance or like pullback or anything, I totally bounce.
Like, fuck this bitch. She doesn't know what she's missing.
Like nothing. Like, and I
love that. I love this.
No, and I think
I'm motivated. I'm inspired. Because it's not just with dating. It's with fucking anything.
It's anything.
Friendships, like fucking dating.
Opportunities.
Family.
Opportunities and family too. Yeah. I think you just have to become rock solid as a person. And I think my therapist, who I'm fucking in love with, like she's helped me with this so much, and like. You have to know your own value. You have to see yourself as a prize because you have a lot of great things to offer. And like I think sometimes we forget that, and someone can make us feel like we don't. And I've made people feel like they don't. And like I've done both. I've been the victim and I've been the perpetrator, whatever. But
you want to be with someone that makes you feel special, and you want to make them feel special. It's crazy. Like I didn't think. I know like people think of me as attractive. I didn't think of myself as attractive.
Yeah, I think of you as very attractive.
Yeah. But
the polls are in.
It wasn't until maybe like the year after I graduated college that I started being like, oh, like I'm attractive. Because until then I had a very long awkward phase, I would say, you know? So it's like this like coming into my confidence, which is really like the last few years, is like, it's definitely changed the way that like I approach dating, or like, okay, I can actually like go for someone that's attractive, or go for someone that has a job, or go for someone that has their shit together. You know what I mean?
For a while?
Oh yeah, I was a loser connoisseur.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Now what? And really, it came from, because I'm actually curious of this. This is probably the one thing I'm not that like I don't know very well as far as dating goes, but like, so it was just the whole like I don't feel like I can get a better guy. Is that it?
No, I guess it was just like
where I feel like better about myself because he's such a loser.
I think I have a joke about this.
Yeah.
And I just, it's obviously like fucked up, and I've been in therapy, but I feel like I was just like, I didn't really care what the person looked like. I just wanted companionship because I'm pathetic. But then B, it felt like safe to be with someone that I felt like was on the same level as how I saw myself.
Okay.
So I didn't feel like.
And like he's not going to cheat on you and shit like that? Is that
because you don't want, because like, I would.
You're the prize, like you're the prize, so he's not gonna like fuck it up. Is that part of it also?
Well, yeah, and I feel like I was with guys that were like losers, that were like not that nice to me because like I didn't like myself, and I was like kind of that like I don't want to be part of a club that has me as a member thing. So it was just like a mess of like I don't know. I just feel like I didn't value myself, so I didn't think I like deserved the best that there was. So if someone liked me, I'd be like, oh my God, they like me. Okay, I'll take them. It wasn't I sought out like a loser.
Right.
It was just like the only qualification was like you had to like me. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. He likes me. Let's go.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Wow. That's crazy because the way people like talk about you, like,
I know the thing
crazy
is,
how you ever felt that way, you know?
it's you know the thing. I feel like I am a hot girl, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I have the brain of someone that did not grow up as like a hot person.
Okay, which is why you developed your personality.
Right. So that's why like I like myself because I had to develop a personality because I don't feel like I was like valued for being like hot or attractive.
Gotcha.
But it's not that I was ugly. We'll delete this. But yeah, it's just like I was bullied a lot. I just like didn't have like the right view of myself, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got there.
Yeah. Now I'm here. Yeah. That's therapy, medication.
Yeah. Whatever gets you there.
Whatever gets you there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's important. I also felt like I never saw myself like only very recently did I start thinking that like people thought me as good looking. Like when I grew up, I was like kind of a little awkward. Like I never felt like I was like a shaggy kid. Like I just never felt like very good looking, you know? And only like the last, I think 7-8 years or something did like, I start to feel like people were like saying like, oh, he's hot or whatever, like that kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, like I just don't, I didn't get it for so long, you know?
It's weird. It's like I almost feel like I don't want to admit that I never saw myself that way because then it's like it diminishes the value. And like now I feel like so much of my value is like on my looks, which feels weird too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think like, you know, as you just keep doing stand-up, your value is just going to be on your stand-up.
Yeah, that's the goal. It's hard when you get like I post a picture of just me, right? I get 15,000 likes. Post a picture of my stand-up, it gets like 3,000, or like a video of my stand-up, it's like, that's a lot. It's significantly more. So it's hard when you're like, I'm getting much more validation. I know my followers like this a lot more, but what I want is to like
be respected as an artist. And the thing is like, but how we talked in the beginning about how you have to find what's bothering you and fix it. Like, if you, like the fact that you're mentioning that right now, obviously it bothers you that you're getting 15,000 from like a bikini pic, then you're getting, you know, and you're getting 3,000 from a stand-up clip or whatever. So just keep bridging that gap, keep getting, you know, so good at, get better and better at stand-up to the point that like suddenly you're getting 5,000 likes and 10,000 likes, and now all of a sudden you're getting as much on a stand-up clip as you're getting on a photo. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, that's right.
It's bridging the gap.
That's it.
All right. Do you want to plug anything?
Sure. I haven't made any official announcement yet, so I'm not going to say where it is, but I am shooting a special in New York City on October 23rd and 24th, 2 shows. It's going to be at a comedy club here, and once the link is out, I will announce which comedy club and all that stuff, but we're doing it. And where can people find you? At I'm Eric Neumann on Instagram. It's at IMERICNEUMANN, and same thing on TikTok, the exact same thing. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, guys.